When we moved from Heading Street, having a big background to this is the fact that we had time at Heading Street because we didn't have any customers. So by the time we'd opened our main restaurant, we'd already had a retail range. We were doing cooking classes. We were doing pretty much everything to make the business work just for me and Jack, just to keep ourselves afloat. And then when we opened back up again, just me and Jack in the kitchen, and Musa, who's still with us, our amazing KP. And then we had a Faye Mashler review, which really had a massive impact. Faye Mashler, who was writing at the time for the Evening Standard. And it definitely had the most profound impact of anything that we'd ever done before. So soon as she came in, she ordered a cod's head. It was the second day it was on the menu. I remember being like, oh shit, she's ordered a cod's head. And so when we saw that review go live, it was like this really, it was a really profound moment for the business because we realized just the impact that media can have, not social media at the time, it was media. Anyway, moving forward to when we'd opened Fallow, we got involved in social media because I was interested in it, and I tried to do as much of it myself as possible. And then we were doing well. We had some more reviews, which brought more customers, and then we wanted to open up brunch. We did one photo of our Royales, which is our croissant puck. It's cooked croissant dough in a really nice puck it's basically a McMuffin, but really, high, fancy, banging. And then that post, we did a post on it. It was just a photo. I think it was before Reels had started happening. And that filled the restaurant for 3 months, that one photo. Wow. For brunch. So Saturday, from a business point of view, we opened Saturday brunch because me and Jack were brainstorming.
Sorry, this is when you were at Heading Street?
No, here, sorry.
Here.
So it's here. Okay, sorry.
We were brainstorming, right, how are we going to drive revenue on a Saturday morning? It was the quietest service of the week and we couldn't work out why. Did that post and then we were booked for 3 months. And it was just one photo. So then obviously we're the potency of that, the impact that had just kind of circulated in our heads. And then we got a full-time social media lady, Sophia, who helped out with everything at that point. And then the reels started happening. And essentially I think so it's like a lot of things that we've spoken about today. I think people sometimes with social media and stuff, they ask the wrong question. So they're like, how do I get better at social media? I think for us, a really core part about what we do is we're not actually focused on the social media as such. The bigger question to ask is, how do I make my team happy and smiling so they want to engage in social media when someone comes around with a camera? Is the food quality good enough so that it always looks banging on camera? Is the recipe development and the new creative ideas, are they interesting enough to stimulate people who are watching the channel to like it? So we've also always recruited social media people in-house and trained them up ourselves. So Ricky was a pastry chef. Then at the moment we've got a fantastic girl called Zara. She was front of house. Although she had a little bit of a marketing background before she came to work for us. But we find it so much easier to find chefs or hospitality people and then train them up to be
and what's in that
social media?
Like what
just
sort of stuff?
Well, again, it's just passion and energy.
We have
The skill set is relatively low. It's not that hard. Anyone can make a little social media reel, right? There's not that much skill.
Yeah.
A little bit reductive.
No, you know what I mean? There's millions of people doing it. It's not like you have to be the best person in the world to make good.
Well, I think there's a art.
There's a way that you post things that definitely gets more traction than other ways. But have we ever paid attention to a posting schedule? No.
Yeah.
Do we ever pay attention to posting it at the right time? No. We focus on making sure that the idea that's in the video is really good and the food looks banging, and that they get the whole process so people feel like they're learning from it. So people are like, oh my God, your social media has made it. It's because we put 3 new dishes on the menu a week and we really invest in those dishes and making sure they look really, really sexy and they're a beautiful thing to eat. Because there's absolutely no point in building a business around social media, because what happens is they'll come in, they'll eat whatever you've made look really beautiful on camera, and they'll never come back again. And a business like Fallow can't rely on that. A business like Fallow, you need to have that Royale, and it needs to taste as good as it looks. Really important. How annoying is it when you go somewhere and you're like, oh, it looks so good online, and then this slop comes out, and you're like, oh my God. Well, that for us, it doesn't end with doing a great social post. It ends with making sure that the customer is super genuinely happy with what they've received, and they come back again and again and again. Otherwise, the business wouldn't work. We have about a 33% return rate at Fallow, which is really high for a restaurant in central London, St James. And yeah, like Jack said about being that neighbourhood restaurant in central London, that's what we're aiming to do. It's more about a community online, which we're really passionate about, harbouring as well as a community in the restaurant. And you don't get one without the other. Like, you'd just be a flash in the pan otherwise. Excuse the pun. You'll be, that chicken shop in Soho that people was queuing around. And now you go back there now and there's no queues anymore because people have gone, they've taken their photo for their Instagram and they've gone. Which is what we're really passionate about.
It's just a window. All we're trying to do is provide a window into what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's honest.
Well, the bit I bet pick
That's
up
the
is
dish
the ruthless transparency. It's like you'll literally say, like, we've put in this dish is expensive because we've got to make up this total, GP or gross margin, whatever, of the menu. Like, that's such a bold move.
So that was a term. It's funny you say ruthless transparency. Radical transparency is a term that kept. So our YouTube channel is run by one of my oldest friends, Joe, who's our creative director now, and he came up with the term radical transparency, and that's very much what we've worked on it. This concept together of like, how can we peel away the film of the things you don't see in hospitality, the little questions that people haven't asked, and then the POV services very much. I think reinforce that because, to be honest, the POV service is literally just us. There's no hiding. It's just us doing service, and it's very simple. Like, I mean, some of them aren't even really edited. They're just put together, and then they make sure that we're not using way too many swear words, but we pretty much leave most of them in. And that is what happens on a busy night. And effectively, like, the people who are watching your content, you effectively understand that they're very enthusiastic home cooks who potentially want to cosplay as a chef, or they are really young chefs who want to learn how to do it properly. I think for us, that second one of really young chefs who want to learn how to do it properly is what we're very passionate about sort of taking forward in the YouTube channel. I think ultimately the best performing videos that we've had after the POVs have all been just teaching sort of fundamental skills to young chefs. And that's what we're doing now. That's kind of what. So
you're trying to think. Is it almost like if you go for the chef, the consumer will come in anyway?
Yeah. So
okay.
So we are thinking like that, but also like when we overthink it, it never works. So like, and yes, we have a hook, and yes, we have a good title and a thumbnail, but like ultimately the biggest video that we've done is 5 mother sauces, and it's just us cooking mother sauces and then showing us how to plate, and then the how to cook a steak from rare to blue, and these are just skills that we've just learned that we're literally just passing on, and I think it's quite a profound thing. I mean, everything is hid behind a paywall now. You've got the masterclass series, which I've never watched, but you've got Le Cordon Bleu, which could be, obviously it will give you a different foundational training. I'm not saying that we're a replacement for that whatsoever, but things, I certainly learned a lot of my, like, I learn a lot from YouTube. I learn pretty much everything from YouTube. Everything from plumbing to changing a fuse to
it's
to
basically
cooking.
Wikipedia with video, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you can just go down rabbit holes.
I think that's what we're an extension of, which I find I think we both take that very seriously. I think we're giving people knowledge. We're imparting, some of the things we've learned. We're being transparent about how we genuinely feel about it. We're not saying it's, maybe the Le Cordon Bleu standard of classical training thinking, but it's just what we've sort of come up with and learned whilst we've been running these restaurants for the last 5 years.
The food history stuff, because I don't know what you did a video and you cooked every Michelin dish from the era, like different eras. I loved that. And I think you've talked a lot about sort of food history and obviously dinner and stuff, like, and you've said you guys read and all this sort of stuff. Like, what are some of those periods of, and we could go way back here, like, that really excite you? Because I really believe like the future lives in the past. Like,
yeah,
you go back there, you can find some really interesting things.
Like, even before I got into cooking, my dissertation was in feasting in the Neo-Assyrian Empire. So I was making a date.
This is a lot going on.
Yeah, I was making like a date wine from the earliest ever restaurant.
What's the Neo-Assyrian Empire?
Neo-Assyrian Empire was like basically like the cradle of civilization there. Where writing was first developed. was the use of trade. Go on, say it. Go on, say it. Don't call me a nerd.
We can talk about your stuff in a sec.
Yeah.
Chefing me.
Yeah, so I've always been, and that's why I chose dinner, because it was the historical link. Rather than it being a 2-star restaurant, I was just fascinated in the history that it delved into.
So what was about your dissertation? Like, sorry, this is where we're going off piece now, but I find this is fascinating in terms of this.
I mean, to be honest, it actually turns out there's actually not that much information about the feasted in the Neo-Syrian Empire. But I did make a date wine, which was the first ever recipe, and I made that, and we tasted it, which was, it was quite good fun. But yeah, I mean, I've been interested in food in that way, in history for a long time. So the Michelin dishes that you use as an example, like, this is the best thing about the YouTube channel now. It's like, how many chefs have the opportunity to cook like signature dishes from 100 years and to learn about that? Like, I learned that, like, Madame Brazier was like the first ever 3 Michelin star female chef. Like, I think that's a profound thing that no one really knows. Everyone thinks of Claire Smith as like but like, there's been leading female figures in the industry since the beginning of the industry. And I think, like, moving all the way from like wartime, or like, that was a fascinating video to make. And then you're obviously more obsessed with the techniques and stuff. I
suppose when you ask about, like, if you think about it, like, you ask about, like, what our interests and our passions are, like, it's almost like we've created it. Where we are now is that our passions and our interests are almost our job. We sort of carved it into being one thing. Like, it's like the YouTube is like, the running the restaurants is our job. The YouTube is almost like our interest.
Your creativity, like your curiosity is where
they all
do that on the YouTube stuff.
They sort of all kind of mingle into one thing, but.
Steaks is a good example of that. We tasted every ribeye.
It's technically development and technically research and interest and hobby, but also part of the business. Like, as you can see, it's all.
We skipped that stage where most chefs go off to like 7 different suppliers and taste meat before they open their restaurant. We were too in the weeds, so we got some incredible beef from one of our suppliers, and that's what we went with, and we built a relationship. But now, like, say that video. Well, we got like 3 new suppliers from that, and we ate everything from.
Well, we have English Wagyu on the menu now because of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's had a profound impact on the business.
Forces you to do research.
And then the beautiful thing about that is, if you think about it, you've got 7 ribeyes, right? And everyone in the comments is like, "Oh my God, this video must have cost so much to produce." So it's like, well, actually, we just sold all those ribeyes on that evening on a special YouTube menu. So like, all of the cost of the ingredients is underwritten for the video, and then the video obviously produces revenue, and then we learn from the process of doing it, and we get to eat loads of steak. So it's like
it's like when you can merge that whole thing of like do what feels like play to you but work to others, and you're just.
But that's the important thing about
everything for us. Everything circles back to the restaurants.
Yeah,
like that's just what it is, because it's our business. So why wouldn't it? It's like everything we do is all. And even like the marketing ideas and some of our crazy ideas, they might come from YouTube, they might come from eating out, they might be from a family holiday. Like, they all just sort of like all intertwine somewhere along the way. We launched a Wagyu burger campaign for Fallow off of the video from the YouTube. We got the Wagyu ribeye in. We then made burgers out of it. We sold them at Fallow as a special. It was popular, so now we sell them daily. So this is all just links.
But the other thing is, we also run it from here.
Espressos is sponsored by supply chain software gurus Unleashed. It talks your eComm and accounting software. It's helped islands cut admin time in half, get granular clarity on your margins, know where your stock is, don't miss availability. Brands like Candy Kittens, Tiny Rebel and Trip all use Unleashed, and so should you.